That'll be better. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome back into the Dragon's Den. Hopefully, Down Under Maker, you should see me over on YouTube soon. It should trigger both of them at the same time, but Twitch is the primary, YouTube is the secondary. How's it going, Wick? And LTX Designs, welcome on in. There you are. I see you over there, Down Under Maker. How's it going, Phil?
Hope you're doing well
This evening? Not sure how long we'll be going tonight, but we will do a little bit tonight. Just felt the need to hang out. I know I've missed hanging out with y'all for a little bit yet again. Tuesday, it was literally the weather. Like, it started pouring buckets. Mrs. Dragon got out and got home. I was sitting here and it just unloaded before I could get out to the truck. So I stayed here for a while, kept an eye on the prints that were going, and shut everything else down. And then, like last night, I left, went home, and got home right as it started unloading again. So hopefully got a day or two of dryness. Hey, Big Jano, welcome in. Bondtech index shipping is still a yeah. See, that's the thing is I want the index. However, I did not put money down on the index just yet because I want them to start shipping and I want them to get all the original orders out, and then I will probably order for mine. You got your shipment notification today? Good. You got dumped on last night and today, watching river levels now. Well, stay safe, Wick. I know we're in drought conditions here, even though we've gotten a bunch of rain in the last couple of days. The way I come in and go home, there is somebody has a decent amount of land that has a pond in it, and that pond is probably 2.5, 3 feet lower than it normally is. So, yeah, 3.5 inches in an hour last night. How much of it soaked in and how much of it went down storm drain? Right, that's the problem. Past holiday weekend was crazy with the rain. Your hometown in Ohio flooded and had multiple tornadoes. Yeah, that's bad timing. Hey, Maker Viking, how's it going? Welcome on in. Welcome on in. How are you doing? It's all coming down river right now. Yeah, there you go. Hey, John Doe, how's it going? Welcome in. I just wanted to stream a little bit tonight. I'm going to show off the fact that, you know, I have the patience of apparently a gnat. So I was stuck here, it was raining, and then last Thursday, there was a special Makers Making podcast, and so I didn't stream last Thursday. Instead, I jumped on and joined the Maker Making podcast. So while we were chatting, I couldn't just sit there and chat. So we may have done a little something. We're gonna post some pictures, but hey Eagle, how's it going, buddy? This is the cab for the Unimog. I did get material to cut my own windows. I've been ordering screws like crazy to the point where I keep ordering 2.5 instead of 2mm screws, which is killing me. I reprinted the mirrors with the first layer being silver, so it looks like they're actual mirrors. But yeah, I've just kind of pushed ahead a little bit on getting this done. Partly because I want this sitting out in the store. I may wind up taking the rims off just because it sits down a little bit nicer. Not the rims, but the mud flaps and stuff here. I'll take these back off so it can sit down a little bit easier. But I want to show off this color in the store. This is Bamboo Labs Metal Oxide Green. And this color is phenomenal.
Thanks, Rick.
Let me set this over here so it's out of the way and I don't cause a problem with it. But I do like the fact that the floor mats are dark red. Some of the interior trim, excuse me, not dark gray. Some of the interior trim and the main dash is dark gray. The dash inserts are black, and then the bottom part of the dash and the seats are that bone white matte filament from Bamboo. So I think that's looking really, really good. For RC mirrors and light buckets, I like to use foil duct tape. Yeah, and we have some of that, the actual duct tape. We have some here. In fact, Eel Diesel cut his finger on it today. Going well working on Tinker Atlas. It's like a daily thing for you, isn't it? Sindri CAD, nice. So yeah, I've been working on that. I've gotten in a couple of little cans of this Ghost gear grease. This is JC Concepts, Ghost gear grease. This is supposed to be plastic safe. We're going to try this out on some gears. And well, my gears are nylon, so this should be perfectly fine with the nylon. The gear housings are PLA. So I'm going to test this out on some PLA, make sure I don't have any issues, any like swelling or stuff like that. And we'll use either this or I got a fresh tube of Super Lube. This will work perfectly fine with the PLA and nylon. So the actual RC gear grease is going to be the first choice. And if we have any issues with it, we can go over to the straight Super Lube. Sindri CAD is also getting a lot of focus now, so you can get it released so people can use it too. Nice. That'll be very nice.
Mr. Viking. So,
we've been staying really busy. I've been working on trying to get the FolgerTech FT-6 dialed in. I've been fighting some stuff. If you've seen the posts that I put out, the bed is not just tacoed, but it's like this. It's like such a massive lean back. It's a 2 millimeter deviation between between the highest point and the lowest point on that bed, which makes it kind of crazy. Showed off a bit on the 1-year anniversary stream for Tinker Atlas that you had the other day. Dude, I completely missed that. You tried to talk a creator out of using PACF for UNIMOG gears. They wouldn't see the issue. They couldn't see the issues that the CF will cause. I know another creator that's building one right now. I believe he used nylon glass fill. And he also used ASA CF for the frame. I used PET CF for the main frame and for like the shock mounts and stuff like that. But the gear housings, the gear or the links for the suspension, the axle and diff housings, that stuff is straight PLA basic from Bamboo Lab. And then some of the other parts like the front bumper and I'll say frame, or the front bumper, the the snorkel, the gas cans. That's what I was, the gas tanks. I did a matte black because normally those aren't going to be, they're going to be polished stainless steel, or they're normally like a flat black. So that's kind of what I was doing, was that type of stuff. But my thing is with gears, I wanted nylon for the durability, but I want nothing carbon filled or glass filled in the gears themselves, because that fiber is going to come out. It's going to wear on the other gear, and you're going to get that dust in there, and it's going to be more abrasive, and you're just going to have gearing or gear oil or grease in there with abrasives. It's going to wear it down quicker, in my opinion. Had to have it a bit early for you guys in the U.S. Appreciate that, Maker Viking. And that's one of the problems is in the evenings, I can normally make streams and stuff like that. During the day, it depends. I may be in a stream, liking, hitting the smash, smashing the like button and all that. But I just have it like over there on mute, kind of watching and seeing what's going on as I'm sitting in other meetings throughout the day. So if I can, I jump in and I comment and stuff, but a lot's going on right now. I have not tried any of the high temp PLA from Polymaker. I'll be honest with you, I have not been using a ton of Polymaker right now. We're kind of letting our Polymaker stocks dwindle. Okay, I don't stock Polymaker filament in the store. The Polymaker stuff that I have is in the back. We've been printing new stuff for sale in the store. We're going to start selling some of the Flexi Factory models. I do have the commercial license and stuff for those. And Mrs. Dragon is just going through and just printing a bunch of stuff out of all of the open rolls of PLA that we have. I've got, I think, 2 entire shelves of Polymaker Fibron. And because we're trying to keep our vendor footprint small, the next filaments we're going to bring in are ambrosia. We're going to bring in some of their PLA that complements the other stuff that we have in the store. Like I've got white, red, blues, standard colors from 2 different manufacturers. I don't need 3 or 4 sets of standard colors in here. So we're going to be getting some of their stuff that we don't have in the other vendors on the PLA side, and probably bring them in for ASA, ABS as well. And then for engineering filaments, that's where I may be looking at the Fibron line and possibly like Soriatech for the more engineering stuff like the nylons and PPA, PPS, PPA, HT, and all that. The CFNs will get all crunched up into a fine powder in the gears. The rest won't be an issue. The gears will almost certainly be. Yeah, and that's exactly. And like I said, that's why I just didn't want any of it in the gear housings. And I mean, the guys built the whole thing out of PLA, the actual designer. So should be fine. Yeah, well, and not only do the specs on HTPLA look crazy. Scott, Edge of 3D, is doing a lot of filament comparisons, strength comparisons, reviews, and stuff like that. And one of the machines that he routinely prints high temp materials on, ABS, ASA test pieces and stuff like that, he's printing it on a V0. That Voron V0 is, all the printed parts are Polymaker HTPLA that have been annealed. And he hasn't had any issues with the printer yet. So, you know, it is one of those things. I think it's going to be really cool. Yes, Atomic launched some ASAs or some new ASAs today. I will tell you that on Sunday, the last day of Midwest Rep Rat Festival, the Saturday, we wound up buying, I don't know, 12 to 15 rolls of Atomic, a lot of PLA and some PETG. I think I got some more of the, dark cherry red, ABS or ASA, I can't remember which one it was. And the last day of the show on Sunday, they were packing up a little bit early, and I walked over and I said, is this case full? And they were like, yeah, did you want to look at it? And I was like, nope, 24 rolls, bill me, you know? And I just bought a case of filament sight unseen. It was all PLAs. I figured we'll use it somewhere around here at the store. Yeah. Mrs. Dragon's stock was getting a little low. I needed to plus her back up some. But yeah, so the FolgerTech, I've been fighting a few things. This past Sunday, the 5th, we had the Maker Meetup Day here. We had Tinkering Techie and his son over here most of the day. And I had started a print, and it was just a plate of various test pieces. You know, I had a Voron cube, I had a Orca slicer cube on there, some like 2/2 round thing and a stand that goes on it. I have no idea what it was. It was just baked into Orca slicer. That's one of the cubes. So apparently my Z heights were off. My Z heights are off. The bed looks like a slip and slide on a hill in the bed mesh. I have resorted to going with a thicker first layer, not even 2.0. This last print I just did was a 0.32 like max first layer. So yeah, there's a part of me that's sitting there going, like, is the frame square? Because the way this goes together, you're using, so here, let me show you all something. So the way the FolgerTech goes together, right? You've got the internal corner pieces that hold the 2040 and the 2020s together at the bottom. The tops come down and they are held in place with these corner brackets. This entire gantry, right, is held at height based on these ACM brackets here. So I literally don't know, and I haven't done any measurements yet to see if this side is physically lower on the vertical rail than this side is. This whole thing may be kind of canted, and I'm going to have to check that with some squares and stuff later. The other thing is this build platform is just a sheet of ACM that's got lightning holes cut into it with 2 vertical pieces of ACM on it. There is a company, 713 something or other, 713 Makers, I think it is. Hey, how you doing? How's it going? And they've got a cast aluminum build plate as well as a cast aluminum bed, I guess carriage or frame is what we're going to call it. 713 Makers. So let me go full display over here. Yeah, so they've got the bed platform. The bed platform comes in 2 pieces, and you can buy 1515 extrusions either from them or just get your own. And you can do 2 or 3 20-inch 1515 extrusions that will hold this together. So this is what the whole bed frame looks like. It's 2 distinct pieces, and then you use 1515 or 2020 to hold them together and give them the strength in the middle. Hey Pete, how's it going? Welcome on in, Mad Owl. What's going on? You know, so this would be a very, very rigid bed carriage, right? It would require me to take the whole, like 2/3 of the printer apart to do it, but that would also give me the ability to square the frame and everything. And I say all this, and the printer is not mine, right? The printer is our friend Lomax. They also have the heated bed here. So this is a what? Say 6.35 millimeter thick bed. So, or yeah, it's tool plate aluminum, 6.35 millimeters. It's going to add significant weight. At that point, we would have to convert that to dual motors on the Z, most likely. I also figured out why I was having issues with the Z height. Yeah. So I had the lead screw rotation distance set right, or what I thought was right. What I forgot and failed to take into account, the Z motor has a 20-tooth GT2 pulley that has a belt that goes around to the lead screw, and each of the lead screws has a 30-tooth GT2 pulley. Or I'm sorry, 36-tooth. So we have to do the math, right? 36 to 20 ratio, or just do the math, which is what I wound up doing, and set the rotation distance to like 4.4444. And it's better now. I'm getting the right height out of it, which should help things a lot. So the downside here is to try and fix some of that bed issues. You're looking at $5 1/4 plus shipping. Plus, I'm going to need a magnet at least, because I won't be able to pull that magnet off of that bed and reuse it. Oh yeah, we're also going to need a new silicone heater, because we won't be able to pull that silicone heater off and reuse it. Because, well, I'm pretty sure I would not reuse said silicone heater. Yeah, expensive upgrades. So that's, I've got to talk to Sandhills. If he wants it the way it is, we could probably, I mean, so my thoughts on how to work with what we've got right now: get rid of the springs and hard mount the bed, and then get rid of the ACM verticals and put at a minimum 20/20 extrusion under the bed, or preferably 20/40 extrusions underneath. What I'm talking about is get rid of this ACM vertical here and put a 20/40 underneath here. And in all honesty, you've got 20/40 on the sides and 20/20 here. These links should be 20/40. These links should be 20/40. Sitting on the vertical to provide the stiffness that's needed for that length of gantry. The fact that they're running that gantry length at 20/20, if we do any fast, aggressive moves, I think it's flexing. Because it makes a god-awful sound when it does fast moves across the long distance. Hey, Timor, how's it going? Welcome on in. So yeah, that's something I was kind of looking at, was do we wind up making some upgrades to this? And, you know, it would have to be one of those things where I say, okay, Lomax, if you want this, I'm going to need you to buy the parts, and then I will install them once they get here. Or he may say, no, you know, I've got the Cheaty's working great, you know, and if he sort of abandons this or we work something out, then I would have to sit here and go, I've got plenty of 20/20. I can try and give it some more support and see if we can make it work that way a little bit better. If it does, great. If it doesn't, then we have to figure something out, which could be going after and talking to 713 Maker and see if they still make those parts and sell them. Because I don't even know. I mean, this is an older design, right? And like I said, it's buy something just for the bed and the bed carriage. You would still need the magnet, and you would still need a new silicone heater. So you're probably looking $700-800 to throw at that printer. Does that make sense after we've already thrown a new hot end extruder, spool head board, power supply, a octopus, and a Big True Tech Pi in it? You know, at some point, are the bones good enough? And right now, you know, some of that it may behoove me to take the frame apart or I'm going to do some measurements. I need to figure out if that gantry is square or if there is a deviation that's causing that gantry, or the bed might be perfectly fine. It may be that the gantry is not level. So yeah, but I hope everybody's doing well this evening. That's one of the things I want to talk about. And since we've got a bunch of new people in, I will go ahead and do the little teaser. Yeah. So during the Makers Making podcast, which is why I didn't stream last Thursday, I was on the Maker Making podcast. Yeah, we put some of the Unimog together. We had the full cab put together. Well, let me rephrase that. Almost the full. I need to do the little side lights. I need to print the side lights and put those in. They said to use a light orange, I believe, for the side lights, and they just press fit in. So I've got to print those still. But other than that, once again, our color scheme is the Bamboo Labs metal oxide green. Our fender flares and a lot of our outside trim here is Polymaker matte black. And let me see if I can get the door open. So, our interior is kind of like the door here. We've got our dark gray, Bamboo Labs dark gray, bone white, matte bone white from Bamboo Labs. The floor mats are the dark gray. And let me just see if I can't get you in here and let you see that primo interior. So I did some pictures. I am going to post some pictures up on X later tonight. And yeah, I just wanted to really get that done so I can put it on display here in the shop while we're waiting to get the rest of it done, because I want to show off that color. That color is fabulous, and quite honestly, I think we've got their metal iron gray and galaxy purple PLA. I'm like seriously thinking about possibly printing and putting together an entire second cab so I could just swap the cabs out occasionally and just show off some of the different colors that we have here in the store. Yes, Tinkering Techie. I will say at least more than one of the packages of screws that I purchased may have been M2.5 instead of M2. In my excitement to try and get screws in here to put this thing together, I may have ordered the wrong size screw or packs of screws. However, I got shipping notification on my MOG kit. So my MOG kit should be here Saturday. I don't know if it'll be here in time for Saturday night stream. If so, I am going to go through and start getting parts laid out and batched together for the like the motor gearbox and each of the axle differential gears and stuff, and get those laid out so that we can come in here and I can lay out all the parts, or at least have them all here available on the bench in the bags, and we can jump in and start building the motor gearbox, potentially Saturday night stream. And then we'll just keep going through and working on getting the drivetrain all put together for the MOG. And then I will probably spend some time driving it around the shop without a body on it, just because. Thank you, was it Josh Murrah, who was posting on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, videos of him driving around in the house. But yeah, we're doing pretty good. The, like I said, I believe, yeah, that last, that last print worked out a lot better. So I may, fingers, toes crossed and everything, have the z-axis figured out. I think I'm going to try, because doing a 3-2 layer height on doing the flow rate test, or excuse me, 3-2 initial layer height, you lose all of the numbers because that would be the second layer, which is pretty much, you know, done in the first layer. So I'll have to figure out the flow rate, see if I need to adjust anything there. Then what I'll try and do is start doing like a 2-4 initial layer height and see if I can get that dialed in across that that large sloping bed, or if I can get the bed itself figured out a little bit. But yeah, so how's everyone doing this evening? Hopefully everybody's doing good. Tinkering Techie, we had a visit from our good friends over at Ecovate 3D. So Waters and Avia stopped by on Wednesday? Tuesday. They stopped by on Tuesday and they brought us a project. And let's see if anybody noticed what the project is. You guys won't ever see the project. There's a project down there. It is so Waters and them have a company where they do keyboards, and there was a individual that had the Idea Former contract out in Goldsboro, and they took over that contract with them. So they are the, at least the East Coast, if not the whole, I think it's East Coast rep for the Idea Maker. So that is an, excuse me, Idea Former. So that's an Idea Former IR3 V2 belt printer. That needs help. The shorter box on the left bottom down there is actually a new belt for it. So I can have the belt printer and use the belt printer, but I have to repair the belt printer. So can't look a gift horse in the mouth there, but we will need to do some repair work on that. So that'll be something we'll be working on here soon. And then I've got a Max 4 over here that I'm trying to work on. Let me see if I can show you what I'm finding or dealing with. The customer was complaining of banding, and I'll see if I can get this to show up here. There we go. So you see that banding right there? So this is a test file. It's a phone holder. This is a test file that's on the printer by default. And all of a sudden he started getting this banding. About 70 millimeters up. I've printed the file 3 times and I get a different banding issue all 3 times. Now this winds up being the front of the print. This side we don't see it as much. back either, but it's a banding and it's almost like a slight layer shift forward, but it's like 70 millimeters up. And this first one, weirdly enough, if we can get it to find both of them at the same time, this banding winds up being right in the groove between these two bands that shows up. So I thought, okay, is it mechanical? And I went and I cleaned off the lead screws and everything. And once again, I got another banding right in the same area again. So what I just did was I grabbed a file. This is a pre-sliced file that's off of the printer. I grabbed a file and sliced it with the latest version of PD Studio. Okay, that printer has all of the latest firmware for tool heads, the main board, the tool head board, every board in it's on the latest firmware. And I say every board because it has servo controller boards on the X and Y motors or A and B motors. That's what I was thinking was the Z screws, but I'm not seeing it. Now the left, when you're looking at the printer, the left lead screw looked a lot darker. And I went ahead and just, held a towel, a piece of paper towel on it and ran the bed up and down to try and get some of the crud off of it, right? Without getting down, like trying to actively hold on to it to get down in the grooves. I didn't want to remove all the grease. But I was like, did they just over grease it and they're getting debris in there? Unless there is some type of debris that's hung up somehow in the lead screw and not getting out. But then again, why on 3 hour-long prints would it still fail right around the 70 millimeter mark? That could be too. The other thing that I noticed, like I was checking the belt tensions, I think his belts are tighter, a little bit tighter than mine on my Max 4. And it looks like his belts are right up against the top flange on the drive pulleys on the motors. And I can't do anything about it because the pulleys are pressed onto the motor stem. So I can't even do that because any attempt to try and move that belt down, all the other pulleys are smooth pulleys and they just align it straight back up to the top. So what we're getting here is a inconsistent, and I do mean inconsistent, banding at about 70 millimeters. So I'm going to try it. Oh, let me move this. I'm going to try and see if we can't catch that in the light. All right. So it's like a slight layer shift or a banding. I mean, it's enough that you're going to catch your fingernail on it, right? But it presents inconsistently. Like there's 2 different bands there. And this was the second print. And then the third print, or no, this is the first print. It had 2 small lines, right? The second one had the 2 sets of larger ridges, and then the third one just came back with that one set of ridges right there. These are all the pre-sliced file. I don't know if it's a speed resonance issue, right? Because that could be. Even though it's the same all the way around, like each layer height would be the same, you would think that the speed would be the same, but it could just be taking time for the internal harmonics to build up. I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing here because it seems weird. You know, I put the print physically in there and kind of brought the bed up and down to see about where it was and checked all the lead screws, all the linear rods, and didn't see anything amiss. Nothing seems to be binding. That is a Keedy Max 4. And the individual's had it for a while. He's got quite a number of hours on it, but he's got hours on it, but nothing like mine. Like my Max 4 that I got in February already has over 1,000 hours on it. This has a couple hundred hours on it. But yeah, he's doing some bigger prints, kind of like my Mandalorian or the Titan Pals that you print a bunch of large parts and then glue it all together to make a 3-foot tall thing. So he's doing some parts like that. So it sucks when all of a sudden you're 2/3 way out of a large part and then you get a band in it. Yes, and bed slingers are notorious for doing that because you add weight to that motion system, and the speed and the jerk changes as you print higher on a bed slinger, and especially if it isn't like just a big honking print. If it's tall and skinny, you also get the flapping motion of the part if you're going too fast. That's normally why a lot of bed slingers go slower. But the file that I'm running on it right now, I purposely made 95 millimeters tall. So I'm going to get into that zone. But these are straight default profile speeds out of Keedy Studio. So it's their skinned version of Orca. So I want to see what the latest profile in the slicer with this machine is going to do it, and see if maybe it was something, because I haven't seen anything in any of the forums related to like, oh, this started happening in the latest firmware, you might want to roll back or anything like that. And I haven't seen the same thing on my own machine. Because once again, 1,000 hours on my machine, and I'm printing like mad, all kinds of stuff on it. So yeah, that's kind of some of the, I'll say, the fun stuff that's going on right now. Let me see here. Torsion bed. That's torsion-free bed frame. So the other thing I wanted to try, there we go. So one of the things that we can put together tonight would be the flatbed assembly for the Unimog. That is so not what I was expecting. Sorry about that. Let me do that. I'm going to turn this around. Okay, then we'll switch back to that camera. Sorry, gonna play with the cameras here for a second. There we go. A little bit more. Ever so slightly. You sort of see me there? Okay. So, grab that property, look at. Okay, so take that and move it over there. There we go. So what I'm trying to do, like I said, my UNIMOG kit, I got shipping notification from KB3D. It will be coming in most likely Saturday. So I'll start prepping some of the things that I'm waiting for that kit for, right? Buying a butt ton of screws, perfectly fine, because they can be used for repairs, building second set of cab, or anything like that, right? Screws are screws, they're easy to come by. The things that I really needed from the kit, the bearings, the motor, stuff like that. So that's what I was waiting on. So I did go out and get the material to do the windows. It was next to nothing on Amazon. It's 0.5 millimeter thick acrylic sheets. So you take that, you use the frame, you draw it out, you cut it, you trim it until it fits nicely, and boom, you're done. But one of the things that we can do is we can take like the actual flatbed and put all those parts together, because you would build the flatbed and then mount it on the torsion frame. The cab gets fully built and then you set it on there and you mount it through the 4 mount points, and now it's on the frame. So we kind of built that one, some on stream, some on the Maker Making podcast. And now we're going to go ahead and put together the flatbed, which is going to be pretty flippin' big, apparently. And we'll get some of that put together. Connect the plates with the A marks. That's an H. Hey, there's some A marks. And there's some A marks. I have a feeling the H is going to go somewhere down there. Put that over. So we're going to need plates with the A marks. So A to A, A to A. Connect the plates, check the plate orientation. Pretty simple. There's wells in the plate that will line up. That'll be the underside that lets you join it together. And that way the top side will be nice and flat. Sent you a link, may or may not be relevant for the Kitty on Discord. Awesome. Thank you, FolgerTech. I appreciate that. Yeah, I was trying to do some looky-loo, but wasn't able to fully identify anything just in my initial search earlier before I realized, oh, it's actually Thursday. It's streaming day. So I needed to stream. So Thursday is streaming day. It's also Friday Eve, which is also a good day because Friday is Math Rock Day, when we have everybody over and we play D&D, which is why I don't hang out on the Makers Making podcast. Okay, so we're going to put this together. We're going to take one of our blocks here, drop it in place, and we're going to be using M2x6 screws. M2x6. Oh, we're going from the top down. Oh, that's going to be fun. Top down with M2x6. Hey, Ian, how's it going? Long time no see. Matlock Day? Well, I have watched Matlock in the past. Little Matlock, you know, some Perry Mason, some Murder, She Wrote. Why not? So how you been, Ian? It's been a while. It has been a while. Sorry we missed seeing you at Midwest Rep Rap Festival this year. Unfortunately, we well, I had sinus surgery, so I wasn't able to travel out. But yes, my UNIMOG kit will get here on Saturday. So Saturday night we'll work on getting some gear drives going. Maybe get a little bit of grease going. I'll have to do a coffee and lube stream of a different sort that day. Flatbed assembly. Repeat the same steps to connect the other plates. Make sure to align arrows of the X and H plate. Okay. AA, here we go. A. This would be the back edge. Killing me. So it showed me putting this edge on, not that edge, but it's okay. We'll put this edge on. Oh yeah, that would be why. I apparently felt the need not to line up the A's, because why would we do that? That one can stay in there. This side. Hey, Spidey, how's it going, bud? How is it going? Hope you are doing well. We're going to see you here again soon. I think you said you were going to be out this way next week, right? Not sure if you want to see that stream. Oh, come on, John. We used to do coffee and lube streams. I actually have a shirt that's for our coffee and lube streams. It was our Saturday morning streams, and it was coffee streams with Luke. And we just happened to be lubing rails up that day, you know, because why not? Okay, the X is in the middle, so we're going to do X. X is A's at the top, X's will be at the bottom side of this. And we want the X that's going to line up with the X down here. So it'll go like that. So we'll drop that on the floor because why not? We'll work on getting a couple of these put together. Yeah, no, they're fun streams. You know, it's just a nerdy play on words. We're normally it's lubing the linear rails, linear rods, bearings, stuff like that. Whether it's a printer maintenance day or a printer build day, it always needs to be done. So if you're using an electric screw when you're doing this, do not try and take it all the way down and torque it. I go just until it turns on its own, and then I finish hand tightening it. If you try and torque it down with the screwdriver itself, you're either going to spin it out and wallow out your hole, or you're going to potentially break your part. Or the other thing that you can do is just drive the screw straight on through the parts. And then you're reprinting. So kind of like we do a lot of our other items when we're joining them together. Remember, we pull the driver and use one finger to just keep it vertical, and we're just using our fingertips to screw it in until we feel things snug up. That's the spot where we stop. We get all of our screws to that same spot, and then we tighten them up and torque them down. The best way to do it, same type of thing here. That way we minimize the having to reprint a bunch of parts. Hope to make it soon. I'm sure I can get another case of filament or 3. Spidey's one of my best customers. He comes down all the time and refills filament for prints for his store. And you may have missed it earlier, Spidey, but we're starting to print some things for Flexi Factory. So we're going to be doing pipe chains for our local town baseball game, our baseball team. So we're doing some hype teams for them to have at their games. And then we're going to also start getting some printed things here at the store. Not going to be like the staple, but we have enough people coming in asking if we sell things to, like, okay, we'll go ahead and have a few things there. I'm not sure how, but apparently I threw a handful of M3/6 screws in with the M2/6 screw. So again, we'll go and just snug these down by hand. Even doing this by hand, you can drive past the quote unquote torque point and just start spinning it in the hole. So just be careful. All right, so that was the A's, that was the X's. Next up is going to be the H. So we'll do the H panel the same way. And the H's will be aligned at the bottom. That's the way we'll want it put together. So I'm using the FanTech. I think this is the S2 S2 Pro something kit. The reason I got that one, I do have a Hodo, but the Hodo that I have is a bigger one and it doesn't have any adjustable torque settings. So this one is everything from a 0.5 Newton meter to 6 Newton meter for torque settings. So you can use this to do models and small jewelry and things like that, up to working on furniture assemblies. So, and I went ahead and rather than try and use the drivers out of my kind of iFixit or iFixit Lite kit. Oh, I just realized that camera froze again. Darn it. Give me a second. We'll see if we can get that other camera to come back to us. All right. So yeah. Instead of using the drivers out of there that I could potentially strip the heads out of, I went ahead and these are Gren Pro. I got a set and it froze again. All right, so I got a set of drivers. I'm going to have to go back to keep that view, go back to this one. I got a set of drivers that we can use to try out. Hopefully it lasts a little bit longer than the standard. Just made out of a different material with different coatings. But yeah, I hope everyone's doing well this evening. Trying to stay dry. So the other thing that you can do on larger printers, like we had the FolgerTech over there, when the oh, words on stream sometimes. When your bed is kind of all wonky like that, is go through and put a larger nozzle on there, right? Larger nozzles are going to necessitate a larger first layer, and that first layer is what you really need. After that, you can drop your layer height down. But you go through and use like a 0.6 nozzle with a 0.3 layer height, and then you can go down to even a 0.2 after that to still keep some detail. But you get the best of both worlds at that point, because you're getting a thicker wall. So you have to print less walls, but you can also get that nice, good first layer down. So I know when we did the 600 by 600 by 1000 printer over at Ecovate, that's what we did, was we put a big 1mm nozzle on it so that we can, you know, just put down thick layer lines, and we don't have to be 100% flat and level. And I think that was probably what was biting the Orange Storm Giga a lot. I think the Orange Storm Giga, which was 800 by 800 by 800, or excuse me, 800 by 800 by 1000. And that 800 by 800 was 400mm beds. So beyond having the multiple build plates that left ridges and some ugliness, the you also wind up having okay. So we're going to start with putting on the flats on here. Let me see if I can't bring that camera down, since the other camera, I don't know if it's overheating or if it can't bring you down to the bench. So we've got our initial main flatbed put together here. And I know we're going to have to add another panel, so probably we're going to have to take one of these off and add another panel in the middle for the 6x6. So let me take a look through here before we start putting side panels. Here we go, 6x6 only. Add that. What am I missing? 6x6 is going to have a longer bed. No other call out. All right, we're just going to keep going. We're going to flip this back, or we're going to flip this over. And we're going to start at this corner down here. And we're putting it in on the edge. So we'll have some edge pieces. See what we're looking at. Shorter ones. Have one hole and then two holes, what they're showing. We do have the wells here, so it's going to be on this side. We're going to be using M2 by 10s here. I'm going to go into all three. Yeah, hope everyone's doing well. We've got a lot of stuff going on here at the shop. Let's see, what is a couple of the things that have come in lately? We had some fine detail resin prints that we needed to do for somebody. We've got an inquiry about a prosthetic for a Mastiff puppy, which will be way crazy. Okay, it looks like we've got a long piece with 2 on each side. So yeah, we're going to be looking at doing that, and we have to do it in such a way that the prosthetic can be resized, because like I said, it's a puppy. It's going to be growing. It does have a stump for the leg that was amputated, so we'll be able to work with that and create a sleeve that we won't have to redo the entire prosthetic every time. But if we have like a front cup with a band that goes up and around, we can do a TPU sleeve that goes over the nub and gets strapped into the cup. And then we can have a part in the middle that just changes length as the puppy grows. And then that way we can kind of give them the best of both worlds and get them a prosthetic that only requires minor changes and updates as the puppy grows, because they're expecting it to need a new quote-unquote size of joint every couple of weeks as the puppy grows in size. So the last thing you really want to be doing is kind of digging through and doing a full remodel or resize, reprint every couple of weeks. So that's a cool project that is in the wings potentially. Still trying to touch base with the local library in their maker space. We will most likely be driving out to Greenville, which is a couple hours away, to help set up the bamboo printers that we shipped out to them. They came back and asked for some setup help. So we'll go out there and do that and help get them squared away. All right. Hope I didn't lose everybody. We're going to use this long part. No, not that part. That has 4 screws. 2, 2, 2, and 2, 2, and 2. A couple of these ready. This is definitely a great tool to have when you're doing this, because there is a bunch of screws. So if you're doing this by hand with a screwdriver, you would definitely wind up with carpal tunnel. All right, so we've got all of the side panels on. Now we'll have another piece to put down here at the end. It says repeat for those. 6x6 only. We're going to do one of these short pieces here with the two, then that's going to basically make this nice and flush at the end. All right. Now what's next? Follow the same steps on the other side, except we don't have the other end pieces over here, so we're going to have to add the other end pieces. Once again, matching up H, X, and A. So X will be the one in the middle. We'll go ahead and get this situated and add it on there. Oops, these are going to be sixes. Sixes. So we're going to be doing some things out of order just because I'm impatient and didn't want to wait for the whole kit to get here. So that one's there. A, go ahead and get this side loaded up. All right, everybody got real quiet on me. So either everybody's in other streams, or I have lost everybody. A is at this side. You're here? Okay, cool. Cool, cool, cool. So what are you working on tonight, Cybertech? Other than doing a little bit of research for me. Matt Isle's still there? Awesome. Appreciate you all being here on multiple platforms. One, it keeps me on my toes and makes me have to go back and forth and keep an eye on the whole stream. Like that one screw has twisted itself through. Let's see, I need this one here. Wonder if you can teach your dog to run or ride around on the Mog? Probably. I mean, you could probably get your, if you had a cat, you'd probably get a cat to do it. That one did not seem to line up. Browsing store, you're up to 7 spools. Uh-oh. Well, if you
Place the order, we'll have it packed up for you when you're ready to come and pick it up.
know, or we love having you any day of the week. So, heads up that, what's her name? EPAX now has matte PETG, and we're going to be getting some of their colors in matte PETG. It'll be matte black, I think dark gray, and khaki is what we're ordering. Hopefully that doesn't take too long to get in. Thank you to Waters for letting us know that they had gotten some. We also have their PETG CF. So I know there's a lot of people that were looking for the bamboo PETG CF, and bamboo's been out constantly for a while now. And from what we hear from some of the other customers that have tried the PETG CF through EPAX, it's just as good, if not better, than the bamboo. I've printed with it. It prints beautifully. So if you're interested, what's the other one? A's, X's, we need H's. Other H in panel. Filter on store site not working well. Only 3 spools for PETG. Do you have a manufacturer checked as well. And we don't have the matte PETGs just yet. I had just sent an email to them to see if they had enough to fulfill an order for me. And I have not yet checked to see if they responded back to me. But as soon as they do, I will add it into the system so that I can then add it to my order. And you don't have any additional filters. Okay. Interesting. I will have to look into that. Now you make me wonder if I've got it added but not published to the site. Because we have a lot of PETG by EPACs here. Okay. That side's done, and it wants us to go through and mirror this same stretch. So we'll start down here. We'll grab our M2 by 10s. Start with the short one down here. Just going to go through and match it up edge to edge. Just basically put them in reverse. See this one. 2, 2, and 2. So when you're looking for filament, Spidey, are you just filtering on PETG, or are you just I guess I'm trying to I guess I wanted to try and troubleshoot some with you. So CyberTech's multimeter shopping, Tinkering Techie is doing dock tuning in the hot garage. Oh, yeah. Yep, hit the like button. Just PETG, nothing else is checked. Now you're making me wonder. Full display. Dragon3D.com. Shop. Filament. Lots of filament here. If we go Pet G. See lots of Pet G. You don't have any brands down here checked like Bamboo Lab. E-Packs. That's great. I've got 2 different Bamboo Lab ones. You also may have something like refill checked. You're on mobile and clicking the filter toggle. Okay. I wonder because I have 3 that came up and I just checked refills. So if you were looking at refill spools before for PLA, that may still be checked. So make sure you uncheck the toggle for refills. Next one was a shorter one that was just 2 and 2. Oof. Next one up is the flat edge. Whoop. 2-hole and 2-hole. So wait, the side camera is now working. That's apparently it must have got its good nap in. There we go. So this is what I mean by the 2 and 2. There's 2 holes on this side, 2 holes on this side. Go ahead and get that started. Hey, Bearded Printer, how's it going? Long time no see. Long time no see. Hope everybody's doing well over on the Twitch side as well as the YouTube side of things. Click on shop. The category is filament. Then filter toggle and select PETG. And only 3 show. Okay, there may be another toggle for refill or whisk spool. Make sure that the refill is not toggled on. Hey, Retro Maker, how's it going? Welcome in from EPAX. I will have to look and see. I honestly, I don't go on, or I haven't been on the mobile website or the mobile side yet. So I'm going to have to pull that up on my phone and try and check it out. I wish I had somebody over on Twitch that could do shout outs for me over there with for Retro Maker and Bearded Printer and everybody. But oh, and that reminds me, the affiliate link for Polymaker will not work. I need to update all of my Polymaker affiliate links. There is a new Polymaker affiliate program, and they gave me a new link code. So I need to get that set up. Okay, now on the flat side of this up here where we've got the tie down strap areas, that's where we're going to put our side panels on. And there's going to be, which way is this going? It's going to go in from the bottom. Doesn't line up there. Line up that way. So when these go on, we're coming in from the bottom first. We need to make sure that these holes line up with the holes underneath here. Apparently the way that does is with the cutout on the edge, so you can still get hold of these tie down straps. We're going to use M2 by 12s to get these going. You know, I have to select the goods in person. Oh, I know. I know. You're coming to see what all we got anyhow. You get like your pre-shop list going. And if there's something specific you need from EPAX that we don't have listed there or may not have in stock, let me know, because we're going to be going and picking up EPAX tomorrow. Okay. Now I'm just going to come in here and finish these off by hand and make sure they're nice and snug. And once again, we've got the A's, I believe the X's, and then the H's down here. All of these are put in together. We've got our back panel. This is the side that's going to go up against the back of the cab. This would be the tailgate area. M2 by 12, and now we need to do a ton of M2 by 16s through here and into the bed. And that would be why we have a ton of our M2x16s, because they seem to love the M2x16. I think you need something like 400 plus of these. Hey, Penguin Makers, how's it going? How is it going? One, two, three, four, five, six. I hope you're doing well, Penguin Makers, and your latest build is continuing to go well. The hot end that you purchased, was it for the build that you're working on right now, or is it for the next one in the lineup? Doing well. Got to go to the PO box tomorrow as your order from me has arrived. Awesome. That's awesome. And it is for the current build. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Need yellow for the little buddies working on King. Are you using PLA, or are you doing Pet G for them, Spidey? Hey, Ozzy, how's it going? You built one of their Casadio Impreza car? Yes. Yeah, I saw the Impreza. There's another one that I've been looking at that has caught my eye. It's actually bamboo PLA. Okay. It's yellow. We should be good. I just may have to restock so I can start doing mine. I'll get in trouble for it, but you know, what the heck. So we did that one. Now we repeat it for the other side. We've already done that. Now there's some oh, that's going to go up at the top. So this next piece here is this little piece. And this is going to go across the top here and put these two together down here, or up at the top. And these are M2x10s, so start running out of those. Hey, RJ, how's it going? Good morning. Good morning. Where are you at? Now you get to order a heater core and a thermistor. Why would you need to order a heater core and thermistor? Pretty sure the Dragon Ultra High Flow comes with those. Yeah, tomorrow's looking like a bunch of meetings and then Math Rocks night, which is going to be so happy to have Math Rocks and just having the gang here, basically, because it's so much more fun when we can commiserate together. Let's see, flatbed assembly, 4x4 only. We're doing a 6x6. Okay, 6x6 only. We need the parts with the U. That's a U. Thought it was C. Thought it was C. It's U. It's kind of like CU out the door. We're going to line up our registration marks, which is, we're going to line the U's up. And those registration marks there. And we'll put in some more of our alignment blocks. We're doing these with M2x6s. More in there than we think. It's just they're so small. Line the holes up over a light object, not a dark object. If it does, then you just got happier. Yeah, the tool heads will have heaters and thermistors in them. At least every Fetus, like Dragon or Rapido that I've ever gotten has had them. M2x6 on the floor. Not hard to spot at all. Or at least not when you have a blue-gray floor. You're in South 4, but you're working again, so you're up at 12 to 1 a.m. Just got woken up, so it's early morning. Oh, that sucks, dude. I so do not miss shift work, and I don't miss being on call and getting called all hours of the day and night. So that part's there. I'm going to assume that this piece goes over here. Assumptions can do bad things. So. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I have plenty of bamboo PLA yellow. definitely a fun build, but there is a ton of screws. And like I said, I've gone ahead and bought a bunch of screws. I am building way ahead of my mod kit getting here. I did get shipping notification from KB3D. My mod kit is supposed to be here Saturday. I will be going through all of the nylon gears and the housings and stuff and separating everything out based on the manuals so that we can start putting some stuff together. Of course. How would you? Yeah, so I'll have that stuff laid out so that we can start putting things together. On Saturday, provided that that shows up, we'll focus, I believe the first thing we'll start putting together will be the motor and gearbox setup. And then we'll start getting into axles and all of that good stuff based on what I've seen of Nero's build. I'll do an unboxing. Yeah, when it gets here, I'll do an unboxing of the kit. Like I said, I was just, and my screen froze. Sorry about that. We'll switch over to the other camera because that bench camera keeps freezing for whatever reason. It's the OBS Bot Tiny 2. It's the same camera as the main camera that is yet to freeze. I hope I don't just jinx myself. But for whatever reason, the secondary one seems to keep freezing. So it shouldn't be, they're set up and configured the exact same way. It should not be a heat or over temp issue. Because you'd expect that to happen on both of the cameras then, not just one. In fact, the main camera actually sits right over the top of one of my screens. So if anything, it'll have more heat because the other one is freestanding with no other electrical devices around it or underneath it. They're both going into the same USB hub on the same USB-C cable going into the same port on the PC. And it's actually the dedicated OBS Bot USB hub, powered USB hub that has like 4 oh, you all suck. I'm going to have to take these ones off. Man. I have to get sparse with my M2x10s as well. Run out of them. Yeah, it's actually the screen was in the way. That's why I had to raise, or not the screen, but the bottom of the camera pod itself was what was kind of in the way over there. So I raised the camera up slightly. Well, like I said, that's the thing. Hey, Star Wars bot builder, how's it going? I am not doing all of the screws because I'm kind of running a bit low on these right yet. So I'm doing kind of the ends. I'm only putting 3 of the 6 in. I'll come back and add the rest when I get the rest. See how far we can go here before I run out of M2 by 10. Going? Cool. Yeah, we're doing pretty good here. Probably won't be going too much longer because I think I'm going to run out of 1, battery juice, and 2, the screws of the size that I need to connect everything together. Yeah, I'm not doing all the back pieces. I'm down to 4 screws. I guess technically I can run M2 by 12s in here. Okay. So, looking at our part, right? This is the part that we just put the end on. We got about this third piece here. It just shows this piece and this piece as we're trying to put the end piece on. Little nub there. So that nub is going to go over on this side. And you know, all your screw holes are inset. That helps you know where you're going to line things up at. And like I said, I'm going to run M2 by 12s in here because I'm running out of 10s. And this should work perfectly fine. Yep. Uh-oh. Completed 10 cycles through all 5 tool heads from the new dock locations. Awesome. I guess what I need to do is just, you know, ask you to come do mine. Kidding. We talked during this last maker meetup this past Sunday. What I said was we're going to try and get to the stealth changer after a couple of these streams, maybe during the week. And if it's not completed by the time we get the next maker meetup, which will be in August, the first Sunday in August, then he'll help me continue to work on it. Because he's now done his 2 or 3 times. Kind of got the basics down and the process down to help walk us through it. All right. We've got all 6 of these in. We just went with a little bit longer screw, 2mm longer screw. Now it tells us to add this side, put this side panel on and the rear panel on. We could probably get away with some 12s over here as well. Especially if we put this on the right spot and line everything up. We're going into the bed, so we should have plenty of room for these screws to go an extra couple of millimeters in. Like we just did on the back pieces, we shouldn't have any problems. Does not appear that we will be. YouTube just figured out Twitch style ads, huh? Uh-oh. I've always got mid-roll live stream ads when I'm watching people. Unless you're unless you've joined, like not subscribed to their channel, but joined their channel membership. Though I thought if you had YouTube Premium, you'd get out of that as well, which is like doing Twitch Turbo. So in a lot of places, you do have the ability to go that extra 2 millimeters and go up size, but don't do that from like 20 to 25. 18 to 20, maybe. Just look at what's behind it. But don't go like 20 to 25 or 25 to 30. You will not have the depth or clearance normally to make that happen. One was split screen. Interesting. Very, very interesting. All right, we'll use a M2 by 10 here for this panel. You know what? I'm not. I'm going to pull that back out. I'm going to use a 12 there. Keep those 10s. May just go all 10s or all 12s back here on the back. Kind of sidestepped and moved over on y'all. Once again, we're kind of jumping around and jumping ahead here. This is, I believe from the looks of it, you would build the flatbed before you do the, well, no, this would be after. So you would build the frame, do the motor, then all the axles, set up your electronics, and make sure that your all your steering geometries go in the right direction. And then you would do your cab, mount the cab on, do the torsion box frame or the torsion free frame or whatever they call it. And then you would do your bed. So we're actually kind of jumping ahead. We've done the cab. Now we're doing the flatbed. Like I said, right now I'm just pulling the M2x10s because I don't have a lot of those, and I know the 12s will work here. So I'll go ahead and put in M2x12s where these 10s were, and we'll hold the 10s back for something that needs a 10. And mind you, come Saturday when I get my kit, I'll have all of the M2 screws that I could ever want, because I'm pretty sure the kit's going to be like a normal LDO kit and have extra. Okay, so that part's there. Now we're going to go through and put in the other rear panel here. And once again, we'll use our, we'll have that other side panel. I'll say what we're doing is we're just adding some additional reinforcement for our Death Racer. I'm going to drop this. YouTube Premium is supposed to be adless ad, just like Twitch Turbo. Boy. That. So far, there's probably a couple of places where I would say the manual can change some. So on the cab, it says to, close in the top and put the rear in, then go ahead and mount your, build your chairs, mount your chairs with the center one first and then the two outer ones. Then build the dash and mount the dash. And what I would say and what I did was put the top in, build the chairs, mount the chairs, or actually I would mount the dash first, then the chairs, and then finally put in the back. Just because once you put in the back, the only access you have into the cab is through the doors. And you haven't mounted the doors yet, which is good, but you're still starting to limit the space and how you can access things in the cab once you put that back piece on. So I would suggest, building the cab, doing the front side of the cab, and then, so you would build the cab, do most of the front, slide the top in, then before you put all of the screws into the back here, mount your center seat, which screws in from the bottom, mount your side seat, which then screws in from the side, the other side, screw it in